Tuesday. So I am here live and in person. The Lord planted my feet on the floor, allowed me to make my moves, to get some tea and take a shower and get fixed up and dressed and ready to go to make it over to our Black Talk radio station right here at WBOK 1230 a.m. I am flying solo on this side of the glass, but I am not alone because I've got producer extraordinaire Jared Brooks. Yeah, he's over there making things go. And if you haven't been outside, it's a pretty nice day. It looks pretty good. The temperature right now is about 75 degrees and partly cloudy. The humidity is like 90%. But it's going to be going up, but it's not like a huge range. So probably going up to about 79, 80 degrees today. And what's going to stop that from going any higher, I think, I'm not Damon Singleton, is when that rain starts coming down in the afternoon, that's going to cool it off a bit. So, if you are going to be up and about and you're going to be uh, going out there, I'm not sure it's galoshes weather, but what you see now with partly cloudy, partly sunny, will probably be more cloudy, cloudy, cloudy throughout the good morning. And then in the afternoon, expect some showers here and there. So it might be raining where you are and not raining where I'm going to be, or vice versa. So if you keep an umbrella in the car or you carry one with you when you take the streetcar or the bus, don't forget to take that because you might need it on today. Well, we've got a lot of good things for you today. Excited about today's show for a number of reasons. But one of them is that we're going to be catching up on the news of the day and the week and some surprises that we saw out of Baton Rouge. So we're going to be digging into that. We also will dig into, okay, what the heck happened? We didn't have elections here, but there were elections in Los Angeles. There were elections in the state of California. There were other elections where Trump backed a candidate and that candidate lost. So we're going to tell you a little bit about some of those things as well. So as we move along, I want to let you know that you might want to go to your phone, text or call friends and family because one of the funky things that happened as the legislature closed was that the bill, Senate Bill 217, sponsored by Jay Morris, State Senator Jay Morris out of West Monroe, got to the finish line. And when it got to the finish line, it looked a little different from what it looked like as it was moving through the sausage machine known as the Louisiana State Legislature. So it was never certain how it would come out in the end, but what was pretty certain is that the New Orleans delegation, rightly so, didn't want to see any of this, none of it, because they were looking at cutting uh, criminal court judgeships, civil district court judgeships, municipal and traffic judgeships, juvenile judgeships, and it just seemed to be with no real rhyme or reason other than we don't think you collectively are doing a good job, and you have too many. Other places don't need as many. You're one of 64 parishes in this state. How come you can't be like the others? Well, of course, you live here or used to live here or you live near here, and we're a special place. So let's not pretend that New Orleans and Orleans Parish is not different. It is different in lots of ways, and that's not just because of Jazz Fest and Bayou Classic and Mardi Gras. So we need to be realistic about that. But one of the things that happened is that the civil judgeships uh, did not end up being cut. The juvenile court judgeships were in the final bill cut from 4 to 2, and that means that would be 2 instead of 4, and it'd be melded in the court system in a different way, it seems. And with those 2, the way to reach that, according to the legislation, as I understand it, that would happen through attrition. So all incumbent judges, all 4, would remain in their seats and could run for reelection. And the seats would go down by 1 and then 2 through attrition. That means somebody steps aside, moves out of the state, city, somebody retires, things like that. But basically a different kind of thing rather than picking 2 judges and saying, you can't stay any longer, you're done at the end of the year. Well, the municipal and traffic court judges would be reduced as well. And in the criminal court, those judges, the bill always targeted criminal courts for more cuts. That number fluctuated, and along the way, it identified the courts led by criminal court judge Simone Levine, criminal court judge Leon Roche, and criminal court judge John Fuller, recently elected. So he knew that this was possible when he campaigned and when he won and when he put on the robe and took to the bench. So their term, expire December 31. Well, something happened on Sunday night and Monday, and Rhonda Good Douglas, her court ended up in the bill, which was approved and is on its way to the governor. A lot of people were surprised, including the governor, including Governor Jeff Landry, who said they can't do that. Well, actually, they did. The bill can't be changed. And so that means the governor has to look at his options and consider what he's going to do. The way I see it, he's got 3 options. Maybe there are more. Please enlighten me if there are more. But the way this goes, he can sign the bill and make it law, and he can do that on any day within, I think it's 10 to 20 days after the bill arrives at his desk. So let's say it wasn't at his desk yesterday, and it doesn't arrive at his desk until tomorrow, later this week, or even next week. So then there's some time to consider. He also could receive it and let it sit and not sign it, in which case it would become law anyway. But he also can veto it. He also could veto it. And then none of these cuts would happen at this time. So we're going to be talking about some of that with the judge whose name popped up at the end, criminal court judge Rhonda Good Douglas, going to be joining us right here at WBOK, 12:30 a.m., right after this break. So stay tuned. Let people know. You want to hear what she has to say? She's here to say it. So that's what's coming up, and you're going to want to stay tuned and hear it for yourself. It is 7:11 a.m. You got somewhere to be at 7:15. You got about 4 minutes, and depending on where you are, if it takes you 15 to 20 minutes to get there, you're likely going to be late. But hopefully you're on your way and you're no more than a couple of minutes away, and you can be there on time. We're going in the break, and when we come back, you'll hear the voice of Criminal Court Judge Rhonda Good Douglas. This is WBOK 12:30 a.m. New Orleans is talking about all day long.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Elizabeth Kubel, and here are today's headlines for you. As we enter hurricane season, the Sewage and Water Board wants to give you more information on the water system in New Orleans. The board is hosting a series of community meetings starting tonight at 6. It is happening at the Treme Recreation Center. This comes as New Orleans Mayor Helena Moreno signs an order creating a task force that she says will help reform the Sewage and Water Board. It gives City Council more control over the agency. A new plan to secure teacher pay raises is on the table. The governor signing an executive order to get the job done. It puts the pressure on the Department of Education and Bessie to work with school districts and restructure their finances. It still needs written approval from 2/3 of legislators in each house. After that, school boards will have to dig through their budgets. The governor says there are some exceptions that funding can absolutely not be cut from. That includes safety measures, transportation, and food services. This morning, the Wolfpack is moving up. Loyola will go from the NAIA and make the jump into the NCAA. The school will officially announce the decision at a media conference next week. The Uptown University fields 22 programs and will become a member of the Gulf South Conference. And that is a look for you at today's headlines. I'm Elizabeth Kubel for WBOK. Have a great day, everyone.
Hoops, Heat, The Truth, On Demand. Ball Don't Lie is now live on all podcast platforms. Tap in, search WBOK Media, find Ball Don't Lie, and bring the fire with you wherever you go. Download, share, and leave that 5-star review, because the game doesn't stop when the show ends.
Good morning, wake up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK. New Orleans, and welcome back to the Good Morning Show. If you have been in tune with us since 7:02, 7:04, 7:06, or even 7:13, but it's 7:15 now, and if you are just tuning in, oh boy, you are right on time because we are jumping into a conversation with Criminal Court Judge Rhonda Good Douglas, whose name was in the courtroom and outside her office and on the website, but it wasn't really in the news in the recent days and weeks until Sunday, sort of, and Monday for real, when Senate Bill 217 changed. And her court
is identified in the bill, which has passed through the legislature, and it's on its way to the governor. I checked yesterday, and the governor's office had not received it. So whenever they receive it, that starts the clock ticking for the governor to consider what he's going to do. But good morning, Judge. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you for having me this morning. I am doing well despite the sudden changes
Yes.
to the bill. So,
Well, so just in 30 seconds or so, could you just say what it is you do as a criminal court judge?
I am the presiding judge of Criminal District Court Section E. I handle cases as low as misdemeanors all the way up to second or first class felonies. I have two specialty court programs. I have drug court, which is designed to assist those that have substance abuse issues. And then I also have a domestic violence court, specialty court, which is designed to hopefully eradicate domestic violence and hopefully train folks to not reoffend. So those are the two main things that I do outside of trying cases, hearing motion hearings, sitting for arraignments, also handling post-conviction work as well.
All right. And how long have you been doing this work? You were elected when?
I was elected on November 3rd, 2020.
And you've been there since.
I've been there. I was sworn in on December 1st of 2020.
And the current term ends when?
It ends on December 31st, 2026.
Okay. And had you already decided to run for reelection or to start it soon or?
Absolutely. So obviously, I'm, not of retirement age, and so I
don't think it's obvious to everybody, but I think if you're not watching on YouTube or on Facebook, then it's obvious.
Well, and I will say that there was a misconception that I was retiring. However, I absolutely love what I do. I find it to be an honor and a privilege to serve the citizens of Orleans Parish. And so absolutely, I was going to seek reelection this upcoming season.
And there's still a way that can happen.
Yes.
As I have suggested on this program yesterday and today, and that would be if the governor vetoes this bill, which would not only relieve you, but relieve some of your colleagues, including Judge Simone Levine and newly elected Judge John Fuller, because those are the three names based on the legislation at this time, which passed through the legislature and is on its way to the governor. So that can't change.
Correct. It's my understanding that, and this has been a whole civics lesson for me, but it's my understanding that because it came out of the conference committee, I think is what they said, that the governor cannot make any additions. He may be able to do a line item veto. I've been hearing some differing stories about that. I don't know. Or, the other option would be for him to veto the bill outright.
Right. And let's be clear. I've been clear in past days and weeks, yesterday and today. The bill as it was introduced and the bill as it is now is not something that the New Orleans delegation and lots of us feel should be going on, period. Just period. I mean, aside from the criminal court judgeships, all of this is just nonsensical in so many ways because it doesn't have any real reason based on any specific data and trends. Old information, apples and oranges, yes, but that's not what we're looking at. That's Will Sutton speaking.
Correct.
Okay.
So as y'all know, as a sitting judge, we are precluded from commenting on any potential legislation.
Right.
So I can't advocate one way or the other
Right.
In regards to the bill, even though it's directly affecting me
Okay.
and my livelihood.
So when did you find out that your court had moved into this bill?
So at about 7 o'clock p.m. on Sunday, I received a text message from a criminal defense attorney who asked me if I had seen the latest amendments, and I hadn't. Um, we had received information that the bill had been parked. I knew that there was some discussion about reconvening on Sunday or Monday, but I hadn't really been checking it because it's 7 p.m. on Sunday, and for all uh, intents and purposes, we were always under the impression that it was going to be the last three folks that had been elected to the bench
Based on seniority.
based on seniority. So I was not anticipating at all being in the bill. So at 7 p.m., I looked um, and saw that Section E had been added. So
Yeah, and if it had continued on seniority and being a deeper cut, even if it went to a fourth judge and a fifth judge, you wouldn't be in that number.
absolutely not.
Based on seniority.
Based on seniority, I'm actually, we currently have Judge Juana Lombard as our chief. Judge Kimya Holmes is our next chief. She'll take office God say the same. She'll take office in 2028, and then I would be her deputy chief. So I have seniority.
Right.
Been on the bench since 2020. There were several of us that were elected in 2020 that are all still sitting, at least I think 5 or 6 of us that were elected together. But out of that class, if you will, of judges that was elected, I'm the third in line in terms of seniority. So there were several judges that were less tenured, if you will, than I am.
And I believe this to be true. So I'll just ask you, for you and the other judges whose courts are identified for elimination, it's not one judge against the other. I don't think any of you all like the idea that the court would be cut. So no matter who was cut, the idea of cutting is not something that you look at the court operation. It wouldn't be a good idea.
Oh, I mean, it would certainly, to lose 3 seats would certainly, um, I would say, put us in a bit of chaos. Um, you know, like I said, I run specialty courts, and so that is a big. I do though. I have drug court every week. I service high risk, high need individuals, so I have drug court every week. I have domestic violence court twice a month. I have trials. We have trials. All of us have trials set every single week. All of us are in trial most weeks, and so to have to split up. And each section of court varies between 150 to 250 cases. So if you think about, taking that many cases and now having to divide them amongst the judges who are left, yeah, it would be pretty intense. And, obviously, we would have to make it work, but it could, in my opinion, render a slowdown of the court system. We can only try, generally, we can only try 1 case a week. So, I mean, just think about all the cases that are currently set in those sections of court that will no longer have a judge. Those cases would, potentially get backlogged. So it could really be difficult.
And if I'm an attorney and the case has been assigned to your court or another judge's court, and you have this load, and so there's a slowdown, wouldn't a good attorney say, "That's not my fault"? And be able to file challenges and lawsuits
Absolutely.
based on that.
Yeah, so I would imagine what could happen is that defense attorneys would start, insisting on speedy trials, which, at that point in time, the clock starts running. And if their client is not tried by a certain time period based upon when it's filed, then the remedy for that is for that person to be released. That's one of the remedies, is for that person to be released from their bond obligation if they have not had their trial in that time period.
Okay, I know you got a court to run, things to do. Let me just ask you a couple more questions. I'll let you go. Um, what are your options as one of the judges uh, identified, whose court is identified in the legislations? And what's the best case scenario for this moving forward?
So, I mean, obviously, if my section of court is removed, my only other option would be to get in the race against another one of my colleagues. And so that's not something that any of us look forward to doing. You know, obviously, I respect all of my colleagues on the bench, and certainly would not want to have to run against another person that I work with on a daily basis. You know, we are in the trenches together at criminal district court. And so, you know, to have to now, you know, sort of pit myself against somebody that I've worked with for the last 6 years is really not anything that I look forward to having to do. Obviously, though, I am not going to take this lying down. I deserve to be on the bench. There has been absolutely no explanation as to how my section of court was selected. I have no idea. No one has been able to give me any explanation. And trust me, I've called up and down everyone in Baton Rouge, and no one can tell me how all of these judges were, you know, moved over and they came to Section E. No one can explain that to me. I am, you know, for all intents and purposes, I work hard. The last Metropolitan Crime Commission report, you know, I was right there in the middle in terms of efficiency, you know, and I'll put that in quotes because, you know, how they determine efficiency is their own way. So I wasn't at the bottom of the barrel. I wasn't at the top, but, you know, I was running an efficient court by all intents and purposes. So, I mean, obviously the options are the governor could veto it, or the seat will go away in December and I'll have to run against a colleague.
Okay, so speaking of efficiency and effectiveness, one brand name in Louisiana decided that you are the best judge. Governor Jeff Landry said he was surprised by this change. It basically saying they can't do this. She's the best judge. I'm paraphrasing, but he did not say one of the best or one of the three best or one of the five. He said the best judge. How'd you feel when he said that?
I was surprised. I appreciate it. You know, thank you for those kind words. I'm not sure where it came from. But I appreciate the fact that the governor is concerned about how I was added into the bill. So that obviously, you know, I think that he's going to at least do some examination as to how these selections were made. So,
all right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll certainly be watching these developments out of Baton Rouge and out of New Orleans and any place else they might be developing, since nobody's told you.
Right.
If they're not telling you, and I'm not sure they're going to be telling us, but I'm sure we're going to find out at some point.
Yes.
All right. Well, best of luck as
Thank
you
you.
head into the rest of your workday. And thank you so much, and best of luck with how this goes.
Thank you.
Again, I just want to make sure that everybody understands none of these judges are looking at another as an enemy, or there's no fight between or among these judges. This shouldn't be happening. Period. Point blank. She can't say it, but I'm saying that that's the case. So let's stay tuned. I think this is going to be something that you're really going to want to pay attention to, and it's an opportunity for engagement. Yes, the legislature session is over, but that doesn't mean you can't call and email them. And I think maybe you should. It is 7:31 a.m. And if you got to be somewhere at 7:30, you are late. But please be safe on your way. This is WBOK, 12:30 a.m. What New Orleans is talking about all day long.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Another day of scattered showers and thunderstorms for the afternoon. Any of these could possibly be on the heavy side. We are expecting highs today, 81 to 84 degrees, so slightly cooler because of those rain chances. We also do have coastal flood advisories in effect for our eastern-facing shores until Friday. Lows for tonight, 64 to 75. More rain chances throughout the week. From the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Richard.
Hey, everybody, it's Graylin Bryant Banks.
And Kimber White Dupree.
From the front porch, y'all. You know how we do. Every Monday is Moving Monday.
And Tuesday is Trivia Tuesday.
And y'all know we have nothing but bad cheering coming through here on Wednesday.
But stick with us. On Thursday, we travel.
That's right. And Friday's Free Your Mind Friday, so get your brass up.
Something on your mind? Want to get it off your chest?
Holla at your people. WBOK 1230 AM, the station you listen to
all day long.
Climate Hope NOLA presents this month's climate keyword, adaptation. Climate adaptation means preparing our communities for stronger storms, hotter days, flooding, and rising water. That means planting trees, restoring wetlands, protecting homes, and helping families recover stronger after disasters. In New Orleans, resilience is part of who we are and how we survive. Learn more, stay informed, and take action with Climate Hope NOLA. Visit Team Hope NOLA on Instagram to learn more.
This is The Law in Your Legacy. I'm attorney Pete Hamilton.
I'm attorney Ryan Hamilton. Comparing the cost of will, successions, and trusts.
A will might only be a few $100s, but your family could end up paying more in legal fees.
Trust costs more upfront, but saves time, stress, and potentially thousands.
Think of it as paying a little now to avoid a big bill later. Smart planning means big savings for your family. This is not legal advice. That's just a tip brought to you by Liberty Bank and Trust. For more information, go to libertybank.net or contact us at 504-915-5016.
Greetings and salutations. I am Edward B. Coulon Smith, Chairman of the Board of the New Orleans Regional Black Chamber of Commerce. We'd like to invite you to tune in every Wednesday at 12 noon on WBOK to listen in on Black to Business and be a part of the movement that's going on. Thank you.
Well, Saints of God, this is Pastor David Impartan Sr. coming to you over the airways of WBOK, your favorite host of Change Your Water, Change Your Mind. I want to invite you to our show every Saturday from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock p.m. That's Change Your Water, Change Your Mind. I want you to invite your family and friends to a broadcast that's designed to change your life, the way you think, the way you act, and what you eat. We want you to tune in every Saturday at 1 o'clock, WBOK, 1230 a.m. See you on Saturday.
Andronica Morris, host of Put Housing First. Join us every Tuesday at 12 o'clock where we will discuss how housing affects every aspect of our lives and what's necessary, what's needed to guarantee housing for all. Join us every Tuesday at 12 o'clock as we dig down deep onto the issues that affect all of us.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK.
Good morning, New Orleans, and welcome back to Good Morning Show. I'm Will Sutton, flying solo on this side of the glass, but remember, I've got company on the other side. We've got producer Jared on the board. And that was a good conversation with Judge Rhonda Good Douglas, providing us some additional insight. One thing we didn't know, but people were speculating about, she made clear she wants her job. And if she loses it, she's going to run for judgeship. So there you go. So right here on WBOK. Right now, we're jumping into conversation, speaking of the legislature, with chief politics reporter from the Times-Picayune, NOLA.com, Tyler Bridges, my friend and colleague. Good morning. How are you, sir?
Good morning, Will.
Well, during the legislative session, you basically do something that not many other people do if you're not in the legislature, which is basically you live in Baton Rouge during the session pretty much.
Yeah, I have there's a crash pad that the paper provides me in Spanish Town, which is walking distance to the Capitol, which I like a lot. But yeah, it's when the legislature's in session, I'm in Baton Rouge, so I just came back yesterday. So it's good to be back in New Orleans.
Yep. Well, we welcome you back, but we certainly count on your reporting in Baton Rouge. It's not just there and a weekly roundup or a single daily story. You're like reporting real time in a number of cases. There's so much to cover. So the session is over. There are bills that failed, the bills that passed, bills that got passed and changed on the way to final approval. And some bills have gone to the governor, but others have not yet. So where are we in this legislative and governmental process with the session ending, bills approved, but they're not really law until the governor signs them? Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. I've been, obviously this morning you've been talking a lot about Senate Bill 217 by State Senator Jay Morris. The governor has 20 days from the passage of that bill, or I'm sorry, from when he gets that bill to sign it. So he's got a lot of time to figure out what he wants to do. Obviously, he is supportive of the measures that are reducing the number of judges in New Orleans, but he also did object to Judge Rhonda being in the last minute, kind of in a secretive way, being a judge who would lose her position. So I asked the governor a question on that yesterday at a press conference in the Capitol. The press conference was called to talk about teacher pay raises, and he said, I'm not going to talk about that today. So I assume he will soon.
Okay. So let's stick with that for a moment. So the governor has three options, I think. One is to sign the bill, and when he signs it, it becomes law. He cannot sign it, let the number of days lapse, and it would become law anyway. Or he can veto the bill. Is there another option, or are those the three options?
Well, I heard Judge Rhonda mention the possibility of a line item veto. That is allowed certainly on budget bills. Okay. The budget, the governor can strike individual items. He did that actually last year to punish a number of Republican state legislators who had voted against him on a key insurance bill. I don't believe that the governor can line item veto. No, in fact, just as I think about it, he couldn't line item veto her out because the bill calls for the reduction of 3 judges.
Right.
So, and the big question you're raising, and certainly the Judge Rhonda is raising, is that why her? And because that was not the plan.
Yeah. All right. So what are some of the other big bills that came through the legislature that will have impact on our WBOK family of listeners and other people in Louisiana?
In fact, Will, I am working on a story on that. I'm writing what, as you know, we call a weekender. Okay. It will be, I guess it will be in the paper probably Sunday. Mm-hmm. If I do my job properly, on the front page and post it online for readers as well. But I'm looking at 4 pieces of legislation that you've been talking about in recent weeks that, for want of a better word, are the anti-New Orleans legislation. One reduces the number of judges on the Court of Appeal in New Orleans. Second bill is the one we've just discussed, Senate Bill 217 that reduces other judgeships. There is the Calvin Duncan bill that has already been signed into law, and even the Supreme Court has ruled on it, that he cannot take his seat as a criminal clerk court. And then there's a fourth bill. Three of them, I should note, are sponsored by Senator Morris. I'm supposed to be talking to him later today, and I hope to talk to some of the New Orleans senators as well to get a better handle on exactly what happened and what was behind this anti-New Orleans legislation. I made some progress yesterday, so I think I'm going to deliver a good story on Sunday that will tell readers what's going on.
Okay, so there are a lot of us who feel like from the beginning, New Orleans was targeted. And they were going to find a number of pieces of legislation to diminish the influence, power, self-destiny of New Orleans as a city, but also Black involvement. Based on your reporting so far, do you see that, or would you say that a different way?
I would say that from the Republicans' point of view, it's our job to talk to everybody, right? Mm-hmm. And so for the story that I'm working on, I'm talking about Democrats and Republicans who serve in the legislature. From the Republican point of view, and let me back up. For decades, legislators outside of New Orleans have said New Orleans gets too much, and have worked to pass legislation that would take away benefits from New Orleans. Again, there's the feeling in small towns throughout the state, central Louisiana, North Louisiana, New Orleans gets too much. And this was true when Democrats controlled the state legislature. Mm-hmm. But then it was Democrats going against Democrats in New Orleans. Now we have Republicans in control, and they've been in control for about 15 years of all branches of state government. And their attitude is, hey, why should we be given all these benefits to people in New Orleans? They don't vote with us. Their values are different than ours. That there are different rules for New Orleans, and obviously, you were talking earlier on the air that New Orleans is different. But from the Republicans' point of view, why should there be two different clerks of court when all the other parishes have one, for example? Why should New Orleans have, this was another anti-New Orleans piece of legislation, seemingly to have too many assistant district attorney positions? Hey, well, let's take it away. And by taking it away from New Orleans, the Republicans are not hurting their direct constituents. And it's probably, when they're back home, it's probably going to be a favorable talking point. And so that's a political reality that New Orleans faces.
So, do you have any idea how many of these bills have already reached the governor's desk? I'm pretty sure the Clerk Duncan bill he signed.
Yeah, he signed that bill. Yeah, and again, now it got all the way up to the Supreme Court, which ruled against Calvin Duncan. So so that criminal district court clerk position is now eliminated. He does not have a job. Who knows what his political future is? He obviously got a lot of votes before, and maybe he could run again, maybe for that clerk position. But the other bills are now making their way to the governor. Yesterday, the governor had a press conference to talk about his plan to pay teachers more by taking money away in other forms of aid for schools. The governor was very sort of populist sounding on that yesterday, and he did a bill signing. So what happens typically after legislative session is these bills get to the governor. He signs them for high-profile bills. He will do bill signings with the sponsors of the bill and people, interested party, stakeholders, as it were, and sometimes the press gets invited if it's important enough. So that's going to roll out in the coming days.
So, of the various bills that will be heading his way, are there some in particular that you think the governor will not act on for 20 days, on the last day, on the last 2 days? Any strategy to doing something like that, as opposed to just taking some time and just signing bill after bill after bill?
I'm assuming there's a strategy. They might want to do a strategy to maximize public attention for certain things. By the way, we also haven't discussed the redistricting bill that you've spent a lot of time talking about. That generated a lot of heat in Baton Rouge. That the governor has now signed that bill into law. It takes Louisiana from 4 Republican congressional districts and 2 Democratic ones. It's now 5 Republican-designed seats and 1 Democratic seat. The Democratic seat is New Orleans anchored, held by Troy Carter. The seat that was sacrificed, as you know, was the Baton Rouge seat held by Cleo Fields, a black Democrat. And that seat is now designed to elect a Republican.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So what do you think we can expect? I mean, a lot of people in our WBOK family of listeners are teachers, retired teachers, educators at different levels, or people really deeply interested in education. With the legislature not in session and the governor's news conference focused on teacher pay raises yesterday, what can happen in the coming days and weeks without the legislature that the governor can do to increase the pay permanently versus another, here's a stipend?
Yeah, so what the governor announced yesterday was that he had signed an executive order that he wants to take $168 million out of what's called the MFP, the Minimum Foundation Program. It's the $4 billion program that funds education. It's an unusual move by the governor. Typically, the legislature would have passed a teacher pay raise or a stipend increase as they've done the last several years. But the governor has now signed this executive order to take that money away from other education programs. The governor's not telling us what programs would be cut in other forms of education. He says that will be up to school boards. But that will require, his move would require a 2/3 vote of approval by both the House and the Senate.
But they're not in session.
Yes, so they will have to send it. They'll send in some a written support or against. Probably the governor. Again, Republicans have a 2/3 majority. Probably it will get approval. It's hard to imagine the governor going through all this motions to say how much he is supportive of teachers. But he did say something yesterday. He said if the teachers end up not getting the money, it won't be because of me, or because the legislature wouldn't fund it. Mm-hmm. So he's now positioned himself as on the side of the teachers. Mm-hmm. I tell you, the thing that's always striking to me, Will, in a state where people follow college football very closely, Louisiana is below the Southern average in teacher pay. And what Louisiana is always trying to do is to get up to the Southern average of teacher pay. It's like saying, we want to have a 500 record in the SEC. We want to just be in the middle of the SEC. Yeah, right. But when it comes to LSU, that would never, ever be acceptable.
Right.
So why is it acceptable in the state when just to get to the Southern average in teacher pay?
Such a fight.
Yeah, I've always been struck by that. I heard these Republican legislators on Monday night. They held a press conference after the legislative session ended, and then the governor yesterday talking about how they're all on the side of the teachers, and yet, again, teachers are not even paid at the Southern average of pay in the Southern states.
All right. Well, I've got more questions and conversation for you, Tyler, but I know you got to get on. You have appointments and more reporting to do to get your weekender ready. But, of course, somebody's going to throw a curveball, and there's likely to be some news today or tomorrow of some kind.
Well, that's a great thing about what we do, isn't it? There's constant news for us to report on in writing about politics as I do. Or I was fascinated by your column this morning that I read about Mr. Thomas winning the becoming the next king of Zulu. I would have thought that Cedric Richmond, who is proven to be a master vote getter, would have won. I had heard that there were some people who are not supportive of him perhaps within Zulu because he'd been gone for several years. But I just thought it was remarkable that a band teacher or
a band director at Kennedy High School,
could beat a guy who obviously is a master politician, even worked in the Biden White House. But it's a very New Orleans story, isn't it?
Yeah, indeed. All right, folks, it's 7:51. We're going to go to break. Thank you so much, Tyler Bridges, Chief Politics Reporter for the Times-Picayune, The Advocate, NOLA.com. Appreciate your coming in this morning. Thanks for the insights. All right, we're going to go to break, and when we come back, we will be having a conversation with Rashida Ferdinand, talking about Sankofa Bayou Fest. That's going to be coming up, but we got a little time if you want to call and weigh in on something that Judge Rhonda Good Douglas said or something that Tyler Bridges said. We got some time for that. The phone number, the talk line is 504-582-9422. 504-582-9422. You can go ahead and fire up the lines now, and make sure you let Jared know what you're calling about so we can make sure that we are in sync with each of you callers who decide to give us a ring. This is WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
This is the Bloomberg Black Business Beat. Bobby Wagner is a Super Bowl winning linebacker and one of only 3 to record 2,000 tackles or more. But even though he's super talented on the field, he knew when he entered the league that football was just one part of his journey.
Football was going to be a really big avenue for me, and football was going to be something that made me wealthy, but I knew it wasn't the end goal.
Instead, Wagner has put the wealth and access football has given him to use in the world of business. One of his most recent big investments didn't take the longtime Seattle Seahawks player too far from home. He's recently bought himself a stake in the WNBA's Seattle Storm.
I've been connected with Seattle for a long time, and I've watched the Storm. The Storm has been doing that thing for a really, really long time. So not just like from a championship perspective, but when you're in the city, they do a lot of good in the community.
Wagner's part of a growing number of current and former players that are moving into the ownership ranks. I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner on the Black Business Beat.
It's deck days at Lowe's, and the savings are stacked. Right now, pros get 15% off all in-stock composite decking from top brands like Trex, TimberTech, and Decorators. Plus, get a free DeWalt 20-volt max 5-amp-hour battery when you buy a select DeWalt tool. The deck's stacked in your favor with brands pros trust. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 4/22 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance. And now we're customizing this ad for your morning commute to wake you up, which could help your driving. Science says that stimulating the brain increases alertness. So here's a pop quiz. How many months have 28 days? What gets wetter as it dries? What has keys but can't open locks? If you don't want to hear the answers, turn off this Liberty Mutual ad now. 12 months, a towel, piano. Enjoy being fully alert.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
New Orleans never sleeps, and neither does WBOK. Now, every voice, every moment, and every show is in your pocket. Search WBOK Media wherever you get podcasts. Download, share, rate us 5 stars. Because when you support us, you amplify Black voices and the New Orleans culture.
Good morning, wake up. The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK.
Good morning, New Orleans, and welcome back to the Good Morning Show. No matter when you tuned in, right on the dot at 7 or 7:03, 7:17, or maybe you just tuning in now, and that's perfectly fine because you may have missed the conversations with criminal court judge Rhonda Good Douglas and with chief politics reporter for the Times-Picayune, Tyler Bridges. But now you're right on time because we're going to go to phone lines and hear from Reverend Calhoun. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm well. Good morning to you too, Will. So this anti-New Orleans campaign,
yes,
I think we all know it's been going on for a while, years and years. What's the end game? To kill the goose that gives the golden egg to the city? The disruption of the court system, the criminal justice system here, to me, they're creating more of a problem than they're solving. The racism that's coming through toward New Orleans, is it an imagination or is it true?
Well, I think it's true. I mean, I don't know how you can look at some of these bills individually.
They just told me now that racism, we don't need the laws to deal with discrimination and all that anymore because racism is gone. Everybody love one another. No, we ain't gonna have that problem anymore. Now, well, something is not right here.
Yeah, well.
And again, I think we got to lay it at the feet of those who's creating the issues. It seems like the criminal justice system in New Orleans is working, and now they're placing something into put something in place to disrupt what's going on, so they can now say, "Oh, New Orleans is not working." Remember, we were supposed to be the crime center of the state. Now, all of a sudden, we're not that anymore. So what I'm asking is, what is the end game here? What are they trying to do? Are they trying to destroy New Orleans in terms of reputation, in terms of its contribution? Because if you keep attacking New Orleans, at some point, the revenue that comes into the state from New Orleans, which I'm told is would help make sure that this state moves forward. If that start going down or go away, does that kind of impact the entirety of the state? So I'm just trying to figure out what's the end game of the Republican Party here.
Well, I'm not the biblical scholar that you are, Reverend Calhoun, but seems like folks want to just use part of the Old Testament, ignore the New Testament, and forget that the Bible says that God created each of us in his own image. I don't think it says in the Bible, these people were and these people weren't. I think it says created each of us in his own image. And so right there is a good place to start with why be so hateful about somebody else based on their race, ethnicity, skin color. And too many people want to overlook that and call themselves Christian and just push that aside. And therefore, we got some racism.
But do you cut your nose off to spite your face? All right. And this is what seems to be coming out. This attack on New Orleans. New Orleans is a terrible place for this, but a great place for that.
Yeah.
If you understand what I'm saying.
Right.
We want the revenue. We want what comes out of New Orleans, but we want to villainize, create it as a villain to make sure that people don't go to New Orleans to give. I just don't understand. My biggest problem now is where do we go from here? When a year from now, I think every judge that you've spoken to has says that this will create a disruption on the in the judicial system.
Yep.
Now they're going after the DA's office. They're trying to, my understanding is they're trying to take some monies away from the DA's office.
The equivalent of salaries for 10 prosecutors. That's correct.
So they're trying to, again, even though the DA's office is working fine, is my understanding, they're now going to try to create a disruption in the DA's office. So this attack on New Orleans, I don't know, are we supposed to just take it, or should we stand up and fight?
Oh, we definitely have to stand
doing?
up and fight. And we need more people to be engaged and aware as you are. And, so many of our WBOK family listeners, but we need more people to pay attention. Just because the legislative part of our government is over, there are still a number of things where the governor has a choice to make some decisions about what is right versus what's political. All right, Reverend Calhoun, we're going to have to go to break. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And Lord's blessings. Have a great day. All right, we're going to go to break. And sometime soon, we'll hear from Rashida Ferdinand. And we'll talk about what's going on with Sankofa. That's going to be coming up. But right now, we've got to go to break. It is 8:02 a.m. The talk line is 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422. This is WBOK 1230 a.m. What New Orleans is talking about all day long.
WBOK New Orleans, home of the Good Morning Show, 7 to 9 a.m. weekdays.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Law enforcement across the U.S. is stepping up efforts to combat human trafficking ahead of the FIFA World Cup. FBI Assistant Director in Charge Patrick Grandy is in Los Angeles.
Please be alert. Many victims are fearful and may not ask for help.
Officials warn large events can attract criminal activity, and they're urging the public to stay alert and report suspicious behavior. A North Carolina police officer is facing assault charges after video shows him repeatedly punching a pregnant black woman during an arrest in Shelby. The officer has been fired and turned himself into the Cleveland County Detention Center. He was released on a $10,000 bond. And DMX is being honored in his hometown of New York with a Yonkers intersection near his childhood home set to be renamed Earl DMX Simmons Way. The city council approved the move, recognizing the late rapper's legacy. He died in 2021 at age 50. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Good morning, wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK. Good morning, New Orleans, and welcome back to the Good Morning Show right here on WBOK. I am Will Sutton, and on the other side of the glass is producer extraordinaire Jared. Thank you so much for keeping me on track and making sure that things are moving along, and give me updates. Let me know that things like Ms. Ferdinand will be here. But, there's such thing as a traffic and all, but we are going to keep going, and we know that we'll have a good conversation when it's time for that. So what do you think about when somebody says the words
Los Angeles. What do you think about when somebody says LA? If somebody says California in politics, what do you think? If somebody says LA in politics, what do you think? We always have Republicans frequently citing those California liberals and those LA Hollywood people, as if everybody in LA works in Hollywood. They don't. But generally speaking, it's a more liberal, progressive, forward-looking state, and a very rich city of Los Angeles with a number of different mayors of different persuasions and backgrounds, and the incumbent mayor is Karen Bass. She's the incumbent mayor, and she has been Speaker of the California State Assembly. She previously represented California in Congress, the U.S. House of Representatives. She became the 43rd mayor of Los Angeles, first woman and only the second African American to hold the office of mayor. Los Angeles is not a predominantly black city. It's a predominantly diverse city with black, Latino, white, and others making up the city's population. So politically, you have to work your base, reach out to others, and gain support where you can. But generally speaking, that's been kind of a range of progressive politics, and you might have debates among your peer politicians that you generally agree with on something, but certain issues come up, and you might disagree about how to go about it. Well, an interesting thing happened last night in the Los Angeles mayoral primary race. Karen Bass is running for re-election. Karen Bass came out on top in the mayoral election. Though she did not get enough votes to avoid a runoff, she did get enough votes to advance to the general election. She got 34.8% of the vote, based on the last report that I saw. But there's an interesting fella who came in number 2 with 30.4% of the vote. This guy is a reality TV star, a conservative candidate in a heavily blue city, just came in at number 2. You might want to know about this. Definitely, the idea of a reality star becoming a politician and getting elected is playing out in different parts of our nation. He has formed what he's called Team Pratt. He's looked at the issues and the policies, and he says Karen Bass, the incumbent, is taking LA in the wrong direction because it's too many government programs. We need common sense. Need accountability. And listen to this part of what he says. And a mayor that shows up for everyone. Everyone, huh? Okay. For everyone. Well, he's in second place, but an incumbent councilwoman, Nathia Rahman, is running third with about 22% of the vote. There's a chance that she might get enough votes to move into number 2, but that's a pretty big difference between 22% and 30%. So right now it appears that it would be a Karen Bass, Spencer Pratt runoff. I can't imagine the city of Los Angeles with a conservative Republican MAGA mayor. That is wow to me. Just that's even a possibility. I fully expect Karen Bass to win. But it's scary to me that Spencer Pratt is so close to winning. It's still early yet, but I'm guessing that some part of Karen Bass's base didn't get out and vote. I'm not saying she would have gotten 50%, but I think that 34% could be and should be higher. So I wanted to bring that to your attention because while we are certainly deeply focused on New Orleans, Southern Louisiana, and Louisiana, we need to be watching some of these things happening elsewhere and looking at these trends and these possibilities. Because I think this definitely ties in to the kind of thing that Reverend Calhoun was just talking about. What do they, as Republicans, want? And what is the end game? Well, here's one end game possibility. Los Angeles Mayor Spencer Pratt, conservative Republican. Oh, my. Well, we're going to go to break. And when we come back, we'll have more news and information for you. And we're going to keep things moving along. The talk line is 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422. This is WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Elizabeth Kubel, and here are today's headlines for you. As we enter hurricane season, the Sewage and Water Board wants to give you more information on the water system in New Orleans. The board is hosting a series of community meetings starting tonight at 6. It is happening at the Treme Recreation Center. This comes as New Orleans Mayor Helena Moreno signs an order creating a task force that she says will help reform the Sewage and Water Board. It gives City Council more control over the agency. A new plan to secure teacher pay raises is on the table. The governor signing an executive order to get the job done. It puts the pressure on the Department of Education and Bessie to work with school districts and restructure their finances. It still needs written approval from 2/3 of legislators in each house. After that, school boards will have to dig through their budgets. The governor says there are some exceptions that funding can absolutely not be cut from. That includes safety measures, transportation, and food services. This morning, the Wolfpack is moving up. Loyola will go from the NAIA and make the jump into the NCAA. The school will officially announce the decision at a media conference next week. The Uptown University fields 22 programs and will become a member of the Gulf South Conference. And that is a look for you at today's headlines. I'm Elizabeth Kubel for WBOK. Have a great day, everyone.
Hello, friend. Tavis Smiley here with a special announcement. You can catch my show at a new time, weekdays from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Same great topics, same great guests, same great conversations, just a little earlier in the day. It's Tavis Smiley, weekdays 1 to 4 p.m. only on WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about.
Good morning, wake up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK.
welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I'm Will Sutton, and I am flying solo on this side of the glass. For those of you who are listening and watching, as you can see, this chair is empty, but that's okay. I'm scheduled to have some company on this side tomorrow, but thank goodness I have company in the station right here on Xavier University's beautiful South Campus in the person of producer Jared. So thank goodness that's not an AI yet. So we still are live and in person and making things happen and go. AI is picking up steam, and a lot of things are moving fast. I just saw some video that may have been AI generated. I don't know. But I saw some video of robot mechanics working on a car, hoisted up, and the robot mechanic is bending down and grabbing this and that tool and reaching up and fixing the car, and it's like it's not a person, and there's no person in sight. There's just one thing after another. So I don't know where we're going to be going, but we can count on AI moving along. But at least for now, Jared and I are not AI replacements. So we are live, and we're real people. And we're going to take another break here. And when we come back, we're going to be talking with Ms. Ferdinand about the Bayou Fest. All right. We're going to break. It's 8:19. You got somewhere to be at 8:20. I hope it's on the other side of the bed. And you can just slide on over. WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Another day of scattered showers and thunderstorms for the afternoon. Any of these could possibly be on the heavy side. We are expecting highs today, 81 to 84 degrees, so slightly cooler because of those rain chances. We also do have coastal flood advisories in effect for our eastern-facing shores until Friday. Lows for tonight, 64 to 75. More rain chances throughout the week. From the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Richard.
Norman Robinson is back. Can you hear me now? And he's taking no prisoners. Can you hear me now?
Each weekday, Norman Robinson brings you commentary with Off the Top.
The incident was shocking, disturbing, disgusting, disappointing, and sad.
Each weekday, Off the Top with Norman Robinson is heard exclusively right here.
It's Off the Top with Norman Robinson on WBOK 1230 AM.
Climate Hope NOLA presents this month's climate keyword, adaptation. Climate adaptation means preparing our communities for stronger storms, hotter days, flooding, and rising water. That means planting trees, restoring wetlands, protecting homes, and helping families recover stronger after disasters. In New Orleans, resilience is part of who we are and how we survive. Learn more, stay informed, and take action with Climate Hope NOLA. Visit Team Hope NOLA on Instagram to learn more.
This is The Law in Your Legacy. I'm attorney Pete Hamilton.
I'm attorney Ryan Hamilton. Losing a loved one is tough enough. Do you really want your family dealing with court battles and paperwork on top of it?
Whether you choose a will or a trust, think ahead. Take care of your family. Let them focus on healing instead of headaches. This is not legal advice. That's just a tip brought to you by Liberty Bank and Trust. For more information, go to libertybank.net or contact us at 504-915-5016.
Looking for a great deal on your next phone? Come see us at your locally owned AT&T store for the latest Samsung and iPhones. Visit us at 3616 South Carrollton Avenue. We have great offers on watches, tablets, accessories, and internet service. Whatever your connectivity needs are, our team is here to help you keep connected. Visit us today at AT&T, 3616 South Carrollton Avenue. Locally owned and proudly giving back to the community.
This is Andronika Morris, host of Put Housing First. Join us every Tuesday at 12 o'clock, where we will discuss how housing affects every aspect of our lives and what's necessary, what's needed to guarantee housing for all. Join us every Tuesday at 12 o'clock as we dig down deep onto the issues that affect all of us.
Good morning, wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Back to the morning show. If you're just tuning in, that's perfectly fine. It's 8:23 a.m. You got 2 minutes to get somewhere. If you need to be there at 8:25, a few more minutes if you need to be there at 8:30. As always, please don't be one of the crazy drivers. Take your time. Make sure you get to where you're planning to go in one piece. Take care of your personal care and your texting at home before you go outside or in the car parked, and so you don't become involved in one of those accidents or situations that get reported on the news. So take your time. We're jumping into conversation now with Rashida Ferdinand, founder and director of Sankofa Community Development Corporation. They've been doing some fabulous, very intentional work over the years. For those of you who haven't been there, you're going to find out where it is, what they're doing, the special event that they have coming up on this Saturday, and more. So make sure that you reach out to friends and family and let them know this is something that you definitely want to hear about, especially since it's a good place to go and relax, or to go and take in God's nature. A good place to think about our ecosystem in a different way. You hear something like ecosystem and words like that, and then it's like, okay, what does that mean for me? Well, it could mean that you can enjoy yourself. That's part of what it can mean. So, good morning, Ms. Ferdinand.
Good morning. Good morning.
Welcome to WBOK and the Good Morning Show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, let's start by making sure that people know or remember or recall a little bit about who Rashida Ferdinand is. Who's your mama and them?
My mom and them? Well, my amazing mother is Daphne Ferdinand. She's a gardener. She's a healthcare practitioner, a leader, amazing mother, as I said. My father is Keith Ferdinand, great person, great father. He's a cardiologist, another community leader. I come from a family of civic engaged individuals who try to bring purpose to action.
Wonderful. And Sankofa Wetland Park is something that you all are quite focused on. Not exclusively, but quite focused on. And for those who hear Sankofa and those who hear wetland, it's like, how do these two things connect? Why Sankofa? Why a wetland? This is mostly black people listening to WBOK's Good Morning Show. It's like, do we really care about wetlands? I guess we do, right?
You know, that's a great question because we always did. And I'm going to pitch back to my father, who both of my parents grew up in Lower Ninth Ward. My father actually grew up 3 blocks away from the wetland park, this restored wetlands area. And he and his friends, his brothers, they used to go out there all the time and experience nature as a daily part of their life. my grandmother, his mother, actually painted pictures. She painted the wetlands. We, have one of them is on the wall of my house, and we have she painted exactly what this park looks like today. So it's a part of our life, and we have many people who share their memories and share their experiences of learning from this space. It's been a science experiential learning lab for science, for kids to just get comfortable and connected to their environment. And it also is a place where people fished and hunted. So, the Lower Nine was a significant green area, still is, but it was a place where water and wetlands were a normal part of the environment.
So why Sankofa?
Sankofa was a name that we adopted it's from Ghana in West Africa, but we adopted that name and we started the organization. Very common name. The concept means go back to the past to build for the future. And it's super relevant. It was relevant to us working to restore our community after it was decimated by that disaster, but it also is just relevant to what we need to bring to ourselves, to our wisdom, and inspire us to be better. So it means go back to the past to build for the future, look back to move forward. It's that concept of a cyclical, regenerational approach to life.
So being a wetland park, how large is this? I mean, what's kind of the acreage, or if somebody were to be up in the sky, what would that look like compared to some other things that people might know around the city?
It's a linear park, so it's a really interesting green space. When you walk across Florida Avenue into this area, you will feel like you are in a completely different world. The background is birds singing and talking to each other. You hear the wind blowing, or it's just quiet. And trees around us, water around us, and you feel like you are in an actual large wetland space. This park is actually 20 linear blocks next to each other because it goes down Florida Avenue from Tennessee Street to Dubriel Street. And each block is about 2 acres. So you're going down the street and it's a linear park that you might not know what's in it till you just kind of cross that little green threshold and go into the space. But there's a walking path, so it'll guide you through the area. On one side, there's water retention ponds that we developed by just digging into the earth and moving the dirt from one side of the space to the other side. And a lot of cypress trees, tupelo trees, mulberry, magnolias, a number of trees that have been there for many years. And then some new trees that we planted that are growing well in the area.
Well, there are different kinds of parks, and this one is very much focused on the nature, the environment, the ecosystem. And sometimes people think park, and they might think a different kind of park, like an amusement park, where usually you have to pay. You don't have to pay to go to this one, do you?
It's free. It's public land. We have a cooperative endeavor agreement with the City of New Orleans Office of Property Management. We started with a concessions agreement with the Office of Property Management in 2017, and then we received this cooperative endeavor agreement. Our attorneys work with their attorneys, the city attorneys, and made the arrangements. And so it's public land, and our responsibility is to keep it maintained and keep it open to the public and keep developing these spaces that support green infrastructure, wetlands ecology, and outdoor education and learning.
So the first agreement, the concessions agreement, what is that? What was that? Because now you've moved to a different kind of agreement.
We started with this concessions agreement, and it was for us to do a project of 2 acres, just to experiment, start it out, do a pilot. And we did that in partnership with the Sewage and Water Board. It was a part of their green infrastructure programs. So we started that 2-acre space and built a park, a mini park at that time. When we realized the capacity we had to do that space and what we could do to grow it further, we worked with the city Office of Property Management to expand the agreement to the 40-acre space, and to expand the time frame for us to do this development and maintain it for 20 years.
So with the organization that you lead, what does that work look like on a day-to-day basis? Because I want to get to what's happening Saturday, but what do you do? What is the work? I mean, do you show up and sit in the park? Do you walk around and pick up trash, or is there a board? Do you have meetings?
What's that work look like? It's a pretty big operation. So we have a board of directors as a 501c3 nonprofit. Then we have staff, and we have partners, and we have advisors. But we have a grounds team that operates the maintenance of the park and then the development work that we do. We contract work out sometimes to other groups if we don't have the capacity to operate the equipment and do some of the larger scale things. But our team is pretty well experienced and technically versed, so we do a lot of the work in-house. But our organization's mission is to build healthier communities for generations to come. So it's a pretty broad mission that supports just development on a really comprehensive scale of land and resources and environmental space, but also social programs, health programs, and wellness resources. So we also operate a green grocery store on St. Claude and Forstall, which is a health hub. We have a teaching kitchen and a cafe in that space as well. It's called the Fresh Start Market. And we also are on a Main Street corridor. So we work with the Louisiana Main Street office. It's the State Department of Culture, Recreation, and Tourism. And we are about to build a Main Street headquarters on an empty lot on St. Claude and Lizardi. We have gardens. We growing field peas and okra and hibiscus, and we have chickens with eggs and beehives. So there's a lot that's going on to support a healthy environment in our community and learning spaces. But at the Wetland Park, it's a real significant anchor project. We're working with Groundworks NOLA right now. They're high school students in their summer program. We're partnering with them to be a host space and co-teach environmental resilience work. We're co-teaching green infrastructure and learning about wildlife and flora and fauna and the plants and the animals that are important to our ecosystems. And we're going to be starting a workforce development program with Groundworks in the fall as well. We also have field trips for kids. Schools come all the time, bring their kids for field trips. So it's a great way to get kids involved in hands-on learning about the natural environment that we all live in, and it's right in our backyard.
And yes, it's in the Lower Ninth Ward.
It's in the Lower Ninth Ward, and it's a really important model for what we could be doing throughout our city to expand a lot of the work that has already started with these retention pond and green systems that are already existing in some places. We can refine them, we can develop them further, and we can just make sure that we use our water and drainage systems in a way that supports uplifting our land, addressing some of the issues we already have as we built this city on a wetland to support the natural environment and the geology of the space as well.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but if you didn't have this cooperative agreement with the city and this, what is a park, but this area did not have the support and attention of Sankofa Community Development, it might just be kind of overgrown and running wild and no telling what it might
That's what it was. That's what it was when we started. It was overgrown with thousands of invasive trees. We removed the tallow trees, full of trash and debris. It was an abandoned space. Now, when I grew up, I remember this space being a green space. Yeah. There was a park. It was rocket ships. It was more of a play space. And then years before that, it was a baseball field. But it did become significantly abandoned. And this wetland park was an opportunity to support a model for hurricane protection, but also actually implement resources that could do that kind of work by implementing these cypress trees and implementing a retention pond that can store water and hold it if there's overflow. And so there's the technology of the space, but it also carries over into outdoor recreation. And we have a lot of support from philanthropic groups. We work with the National Park Service closely. We're talking now to groups who support that type of work, and we're looking at this Land Water Conservation Fund. It's called the Outdoor Recreation Legacy Partnership, and it's a part of the Land and Water Conservation Fund. We're going to be applying for that. We're just going to be getting our cooperative endeavor agreement extended. We're working with the Office of Property Management to extend our cooperative endeavor agreement so that we can be applicable for that.
So we are in conversation with Rashida Ferdinand, the daughter of two fabulous professionals who did a good job with raising little Rashida into the woman and professional that she is today. Sankofa Wetland Park is in the Lower Ninth Ward, and we're talking about the park there. But we're also going to be talking about a special event that is coming up this Saturday. First, let's go to the phone line. We've got a call, and that's a good thing. Good morning, Aaron. You're on with Will Sutton, and I've got Rashida Ferdinand here. How are you, sir?
Hey, God bless you. Good morning. If I can, I'm definitely going to try to attend the event Saturday. And also, I live across town, but I do enjoy coming to your market on St. Claude. Will you be able to have a budget so you can do some marketing about your store and advertising about your store on St. Claude so we can keep it going strong?
Yes, we are working right now to continue to promote the store and find those things. Running a store is a different type of system. We're working on the retail component of it. Right now, we offer fresh produce and herbs that we grow in our garden. Field peas and okra are going to be at the store and offering those on a daily basis. We're also creating some baked goods, and we're going to be developing our cafe. But trust me, the store is not going anywhere. The store will be there. We have the support of the City Health Department and Kellogg Foundation and patrons like yourself and other community groups and Xavier Health and Wellness Center. It's a significantly collective effort. And I would love to talk with you more. If you could leave your number, and we want to, spread the word about it from people like you as well. So we'll be having a Sankofa Market booth at the park, but the real emphasis of this event this Saturday is to support our community, and we'll have lots of different community partners who also be sharing the amazing work that they're doing in our city.
All right. Thanks.
Sounds great. Yeah, keep going strong because we definitely need the store.
All right. Lord's blessings, Aaron. Thanks for calling. All right, we got a couple more calls, and hold on. We're going to get to you. We see you calling. This is wonderful that people want to talk about this. But let's go ahead and tell people what's happening Saturday.
So Saturday, we're having our 6th annual Bayou Fest. We have been doing this event every year during April. We had to postpone this year to June because we got rained out. We tried to do it this year, but we will be offering a number of activities that are just family fun oriented. Kayaking. You can kayak in the wetland park. It is an amazing experience. So you'll be able to kayak. Fishing lessons. We have the Lady Anglers. We have Mr. Errol Joseph, and the Wildlife and Fisheries will all be out to share fishing lessons and arts and crafts around fish painting. And we'll have Greenlight NOLA is going to share their rain barrel process, and you can paint the rain barrels. We'll have music, live music. We'll have different food trucks, local food. We also going to have free crawfish for the first.
Whoa.
Free until it lasts. There's some free crawfish.
Free crawfish?
free crawfish until it lasts, but there's also food trucks where you could support some local food vendors who are coming, snowballs and some, burgers and fries and good food just to hang out.
Yeah.
There's going to be a demonstration, a crafts demonstration by a young lady who does amazing bracelets and jewelry. It's called Daisy Doodles, handmade crafts. So she'll show her crafts, and you can also buy her bracelets and anklets. We'll have storytelling and a kids area for all kinds of activities. And then we'll be also doing a soft opening about bird walk. We just created a new birding trail with landscape architecture. It is super amazing. Come out and see it. We have over 80 different bird species in the park. So
is that right?
Yeah. Wow. They come and go. They migrate. They rest. Some of them are just like nesting and hanging out, and some of them are taking a little break as they move down south or back up north. But it's definitely they're in arm's length. They're like all over. We have different types of wildlife living throughout the park. That's amazing to experience.
So they like Sankofa as a bird rest stop.
I think and this is it. Yeah, I think when you create this healthy ecosystem, or you support the creation of, I won't say we created it, but when you start moving things around to allow the earth to breathe and nature to do its course, it falls into place. And so they're all hanging out and enjoying it.
Wonderful. All right, let's go to the phone line. Good morning, Keith. You're on with Will Sutton, and we're in conversation with Rashida Ferdinand from Sankofa.
Good morning, guys. How you guys doing?
Fabulous. How are you, sir?
I'm blessed. First of all, I want to say shout out to you, Brother Will. You and I go a long ways back to probably the greatest Boy Scout troop ever.
In the Lower Ninth Ward.
Yes. As a matter of fact, I wasn't going to call in, but the reason I'm actually calling is because a big shout out also to Mrs. Ferdinand. I do kind of remember her dad from back in the day. I've been away from New Orleans for a very long time, but I've actually used to live right across the street from where this young lady is actually talking about, the park. And I don't know, when I heard her mention about the baseball field, I used to coach a baseball team down there in the Lower Ninth Ward. And when I was growing up, again, that area was overgrown. And I do remember that myself and a couple of neighborhood kids, we went over there with lawnmowers. I think we ruined a couple of lawnmowers in the process. And then we carved out an actual baseball diamond over there. And that's where we actually used to practice. I was a baseball coach with Nord way back in the day. But again, I'm just amazed and, just thrilled that, like I said, again, I grew up right there in that neighborhood, and just thrilled that she's actually doing something for that community.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, thanks for calling in from Boy Scout Troop 155.
Absolutely.
And thanks for tuning in. Where are you these days?
I've been in Atlanta for about 40 years.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you continuing to be connected to New Orleans through the Good Morning Show and WBOK. Lord's blessings, Keith. Have a fabulous day.
You too. Bye.
Good morning, Don. You're on with
Yes,
Will
good
Sutton.
morning.
You're on with Will Sutton.
Rashida-
We're in conversation with Rashida Ferdinand.
Yes, sir. And the best to her parents, of course, great humanitarians, great people. I want to ask a question. I hear this. I don't want you to get political, but this issue of two things. Drain the swamp. We're going to drain the swamp. And the connection to the Atchafalaya Basin and the destruction of the largest swamp in the world, one of the largest swamp in the world, the Atchafalaya Basin, and this damage. And can you relate to those for me, please? Thank you.
Yeah, I want to say that we need to look at what our land was like. Let's go back. We have been here 20, 30 years, maybe 50, 70 years. That's not that long.
Right.
But we have to consider what was working well and why the systems were working the way they were before we were here and what they'll be like when we leave. And I think if we start addressing our ecosystems in a significantly comprehensive way that takes out our few years of being stewards for this earth and take on a responsibility of enjoying the water and the trees and the life that we experience now, and know that we have a responsibility to make it better and accessible for people who come after us. Not just make it accessible for the creature comforts and the things that we want during our lifetime. So the challenge that we have to look at with these systems and changes that are made are, when was water diverted and what was created when these diversions take place, even when it supports more different types of seafood or different types of fish species coming into these spaces. Were they there before, and why weren't they there before, and why are they there now? And sometimes we see what we see on a visual level, but we don't understand that there are multiple moving parts, not just what's below us underground. Like, you have water below us that we don't even know and experience. We have trees that are connected to each other, and their roots are connected beyond what we know in our radar, in our space. That as we change the geological and ecological systems, it affects other places, places that we may not be walking on physically, meaning we personally, other people may have, or they may not even be people inhabiting it, but we impact the earth in a very comprehensive way. So the investments in changing things or not changing things for commercial industries, or what somebody may think they know is normal because they've been experiencing for the 40, 50 years of their lives, may not be what's normal, is not, I'll say that, how it's supposed to be for the span of the life of our world. So I just think we have to be very aware of our place and the power that we have as human beings, where we are significant, but also be humble about our insignificance as a priority in the life of our earth.
Wonderful. So before we let you go, and we're going to have to get out of here and make room for the front porch. Remind us where Sancova Wetland Park is, and what time the event starts and ends on Saturday. Maybe where to go to park if people aren't used to getting into that part of the lower Ninth Ward.
So if you cross the canal, go to cross the canal, Claiborne or St. Claude, you're going to make a left on Tupelo or Fats Domino. You're going to go down to Florida Avenue. We actually have signs that direct you to the park, Wetland Park this way, on Tupelo and Fats Domino, that'll help you get to the park. And then we have signs on Florida Avenue. So you're going to go to the east direction of Florida Avenue. That's how you enter the park. The event is going to be Saturday, June 6th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Come anytime, hang out, drop by, get some food from our local food vendors. If you come early, you could get some free crawfish. It is going to be a lot of fun and a great learning experience. And you're going to just be like, wow, I didn't know this was here. If you haven't been there before.
Right.
And you'll come back. Trust me, you'll come back.
And where is Fresh Start?
The Fresh Start is, it's on Forstall in St. Claude. So it's right across the St. Claude Bridge in the Lower Nine. The address is 5029 St. Claude. It's a yellow building, looks like a house. Kind of, sort of, like a house commercial. It's a commercial building.
Yeah, right.
It's
yeah.
our stores,
Yeah,
but it's a little corner store. 5029 on a corner of St. Claude and Forstall.
Yeah, and if you want a different shopping experience, it's not like going to the Rouse's or the Walmart.
It's not it's not a traditional grocery store.
That is not what this place is. So, but if you want a different shopping experience and you want to focus on fresh, Fresh Start is a good spot to go.
Fresh and clean.
Yep, indeed. Well, thank you, Rashida Ferdinand. We appreciate your joining us this morning on the Good Morning Show. And once again, that is Saturday from 10 to 2 p.m. At Sankofa Wetland Park. And it's free. And even the crawfish is free if you get there early enough. So if you're saying it's 10 to 2 and I'm going to go for the last part, I wouldn't count on any crawfish at that point. So if you want some free crawfish, you might want to be there for 10, 10:15, 10:30 maybe, because after people hear that, they might dive in, enjoy the crawfish, and then grab a burger and take part in some of the activities on Saturday. All right, we're going to wrap this segment up and go to a break, and then we'll be wrapping up the show for today. This is WBOK 1230 AM. What New Orleans is talking about all day long.
It's off the top with Norman Robinson on WBOK 1230 AM.
Louisiana has one of the highest incarceration rates in the world when adjusted per capita, not to mention its dubious distinction of locking up a higher percentage of its residents than any other state in the entire country. As if not satisfied with that sorry record of infamy, here comes Governor Jeff Landry, our lord of lock 'em up and throw away the key, with a $798 million corrections budget proposal to add even more beds at the state penitentiaries to imprison even more residents. Now that's an $82 million increase for the correction budget, while at the same time slicing the education budget by $165 million. This makes as much sense as tits on a chicken. Critics opine that it would make far more sense to use that revenue on education and mental health programs. Moreover, it would be less expensive. Here's the breakdown on that. It's costing about $23,000 to $30,000 a year in Louisiana to incarcerate someone, compared to roughly $15,000 a year to educate a student K through 12. Sadly, state taxpayers are spending around $10,000 to $15,000 more a year to keep someone locked up than they spend on a child's public education. And ironically, it's the governor who's adding to prison overcrowding via his harsh so-called prison reform policies. The number of prisoners paroled during Landry's tenure has declined to its lowest in 20 years. Critics say it's because parole decisions are not made by the parole board anymore, but are being made according to computerized algorithms. You know, there's an old saying about programming computers: garbage in, garbage out. My message to the governor and his supermajority conservative GOP allies in the legislature is stop treating people like garbage, damn it. This is Norman Robinson off the top.
This is Monica Pierre along with Sally Ann Roberts Daybone, co-host of Your Power is On.
Tune in Sunday mornings from 7 to 8 a.m. for music that feeds the spirit. Get your Sunday on.
Right here on WBOK 1230 AM and WBOK1230.com, the station you listen to all day long.
Good morning, wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
And welcome back to the Good Morning Show. We just wrapped up a wonderful conversation with Rashida Ferdinand from Sankofa Wetland Park. Big activity happening on Saturday, 10 a.m. to 2, and it is free. If you haven't been over there, it's definitely worth taking some time and going over there, at least for a few minutes to half hour or so. And you can stay for the whole stretch if you would like. So just consider that as a part of what you think about for your Saturday. So earlier I told you that there were some elections yesterday, and one of the elections that I just want to note is that the gubernatorial election in California has a Republican in the lead and a Democrat in second for a runoff. So I'm going to leave it about there, and we can talk some more about that. I just want to make sure that you are aware of where that stands. Mr. Trump had a number of wins in Iowa, Montana, and South Dakota, but he did not win all of the races, so he did have a loss, and we'll look at that more as well. Meanwhile, we've got to stay engaged, stay involved. Take a look at NOLA.com about the New Orleans judge responds after lawmakers attempt to eliminate her posts. Deeply blindsided by John Zimmerman, Times Picayune, NOLA.com. That story just went up since the show has been on. Take a look at that, find out what's going on, and watch the developments on this one and all others, because just because a bill is passed, it doesn't become law until the governor signs it and says so. All right, Lord willing, I'll be back again tomorrow. I'm Will Sutton. I'm signing off from the Good Morning Show. We're going to make room for the front porch coming up next. After that, Tyva Smalley, and then the G-Man, Gerard Stevens, and the Reality Check. So, as I sign off, as I like to say, this is WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.